How do, folks, and thanks for tuning in. Deed's back again with another OBV hardware for review. And coming up today, we've got this little beauty for you, the Conqueror Mini. It's a nice little 22mm RTA by Wotofo. It's the little sister to what was an incredibly popular RTA, the Conqueror by Wotofo. So what we're going to do, and no mucking about today, we're going to go straight down to tabletop view, do a bit of an unboxing, break down the parts of it so you can see how it comes apart, how it gets put back together, and then we'll come back up top once I've built it, wicked it, juiced it, give it a vape, and let you know my opinions on it. So stick around and we'll go straight down to tabletop. Right then, folks, here we go. Here it is, Conqueror Mini. As you can see, it's a nice plain simple packaging, but it's definitely a very solid, tough cardboard box to it. As you can see, it's got this whole wire mesh design over the box. You can see the Wotofo logo there, the top and at the bottom, and on the back we've got some information about a few advocacy groups and a few warning bits and bobs at the bottom. There is also the customary, as usual, scratch and sniff code there, so you can check that your product is genuine. Inside the box, you open it up, you can see we've got a little information leaflet and instruction book there. Tells you how to build it, wick it, how to control the airflow, etc, etc. A little bit of a warning information on the back there. There we go. So you'll know exactly how to use the thing. We'll put that off to one side. It does come with a little card as well somewhere with a Wotofo promotion, as you saw on the Serpent review. Inside the box, all looks very plain and simple. We've got the unit itself, the actual Conqueror Mini RTA. It comes with a spare glass tube as well, and underneath the foam, I'm not going to bother taking the glass out. Underneath that foam, we've got 3 little packages here and a little screwdriver. And in this, you get some cotton and some coils. Inside this one, there's a little bit of cotton there to start you off with. Open up this one. Okay, might need to get my scissors out on this one. We'll get to that one in a minute. I'll open up this one. And here we've got a little mini coil building jig. Some spare O-rings. Multiple spare O-rings, yeah. There you go, we've even got some different coloured ones if you want to change the appearance of your tank a little bit. There's still more in there. There we go, so you're definitely not going to be running out of O-rings anytime soon. There's even a spare screw in there if you need to replace one of them. I think there's actually a few more inside there as well. Yep, more O-rings, more screws, they're all inside there. They're just a little bit tricky to get to. So I'll pop those bits back in there. And the coil jig. Put these bits away off to the side. And see if we can't get into this one. There we go. And it comes with a few coils to get you started off with. Now it is a dual coil design, but for some reason they put 3 coils in there. Bit of an odd number, but there you go. Even though it is a dual coil design, I would actually say it's possible to build it as a single coil if you wish. And you'll see that in a moment when I break it down. And you get yourself a nice little screwdriver there. Now, let's pop these away. And back in this packet. I would have preferred it if it had come with a little sealy bag kind of thing, because these, they look nice and they could eye-catching packaging, but once you've ripped them open, that's it. We'll put those off to the side, and we'll take a look at the actual RTA itself. There we go. Now I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can get a better view. It's a nice little 22mm RTA deck. It's with a 2.5mm capacity. Obviously it's not the hugest juice capacity that's going, but if you want something small that you don't have to, you know, not something big and huge to lug around all day, this is great for you. It comes with dual airflow. You can see straight the way through it there, and an adjustment you make on one side is obviously replicated on the other as well. It's not the easiest to take apart, I will say, because it's a little on the fiddly side, and even me with small hands, I've got very small hands for a guy, even I struggle with, because it is a little on the small side. There you can see you've got a nice dual coil design with bottom airflow. It is a postless deck. You're adjusting the screws in on the coils and tighten the coils down from the side. That's also your wicking channels there in the edges. The design of it does mean that your coils and the juice flow are sat pretty much at about the same height, so you don't have to have long huge wick tails for the juice to wick its way up. So that's nice and simple there. The rest of it does come apart as well. The top cap unscrews. It partially unscrews, but it also pops on and off at the top. The threads for attaching the top part of it are actually down just inside the chimney, if you can see them just inside there. So you have to pop it on first and then screw it in tight. And obviously, of course, you can unscrew this apart, although it is a little bit tight fitting when it's put together. But that does come apart for cleaning, and so you can replace the glass if ever there's a problem. I think you're going to have to take my word on that one though, because I can't quite get my fingers in there to get it apart at the moment. I have had it apart once already and put it back together. So it does screw apart at the joint between the top cap there and the chimney. Right in the middle it joins up. Then all you do is, once you've put your coils in on the base, just pop that top part back on. Get that tightened up, but not too tight. As you can see, the juice flow holes are just visible in that gap. It does say that it's got juice flow control, but I will say personally I don't see how, because there isn't a position you can turn that into where the juice flow is completely blocked off. There is always at least two holes, one from each side, are always uncovered. So I'm not quite sure how they claim that to be juice flow control, but still, there shouldn't be a problem with juice getting through to that at all. And once you've filled it up, you just pop the top cap back on, push it down, and then screw it on nice and tight again. The top cap isn't the easiest, again. It does require a little more patience than some other RTAs out there, but hopefully once we get it built and wicked, the performance will outweigh the little niggles like that. Anyway, there we go. Nice little dinky RTA there. So anyway, we'll go back up top, or back to Ugly Cam as I keep calling it lately. But before then, I'm going to pop coils in, get it wicked up, get it juiced up, get it going, have a bit of a vape on it for a little while, and then I'll come back and let you know what I think of it. So stay tuned, and I'll see you back up top. Hi guys, right, we're back up top with Ugly Cam, as I'm dubbing it. And I've got it built up, I've got it wicked, I've had a little vape on it. I've already got part way through the tank. As you can see, I've changed one of the O-rings in it just to give it that little red accent. It amuses me, it pleases me, so. So anyway, as you can hear and see from that, there is stacks of airflow through this thing. It really does perform well in that respect. It was a little tricky to build on, not difficult, just a little tricky, because the deck is recessed down inside that outer ring where the juice flow control comes through and the chimney screws on, etc. It was a little tricky sometimes to get in there and pinch and adjust the coils. Now, keep in mind that I'm basing how this is performing on the coils that came with it. Over the coming weeks, obviously, I'm going to experiment and play with it, and I will try putting my own coils in. So, you know, the amount of clouds and the amount of flavour you're going to get are going to be heavily based on what coils you do put in there. With it being a 22mm overall size tank, obviously the deck is smaller inside that, you're not going to be able to put your big huge chunky Claptons, parallel builds, staggered fuse, anything like that on it. You're going to have to stick to your plain wire micro coils, or you can use twisted like the ones that came with it. Personally, I tend to prefer twisted anyway because they're a lot less nonsense to mess around with building. It's very easy to make yourself some twisted wire and wrap a coil with it, and with that respect it does perform admirably. You can see I'm getting some good coils, some good clouds, sorry. The coils that came with it come in at they were originally reading 0.2, they're now saying 0.19, but obviously coils will fluctuate a little tiny bit. I'm running it at 55 watts. It's a nice warm flavorful vape. I'm not getting any spit back at all, and those wicking holes, although they don't look huge, they're wicking really well. I think that may be down to the fact that you don't have to have long tails on them. Your wicking end's right by the wicking hole, so it's not having to drag through a lot of cotton to get to the coils. And I've not got a single dry hit on this, even when I've tried chain vaping it. As usual with the tank, it's not a massive airflow like you'd get in an RTA, a dripper with a big chuff cap. So you're not getting the big massive pluming clouds, but it is they are very reasonable clouds, good sized clouds, and there's plenty of density there to get yourself a good amount of flavour. In terms of flavour, at the moment I'm currently using Darth Vapor's strawberry shake in this. Now, creams, custards, milky kind of flavours do tend to be a little on the more subtle side anyway, but considering that, the flavour is coming through really well on it. To be honest, it probably doesn't work. They don't always work so great as a warm vape, but I do tend to prefer my vapor to be quite warm, not hot and scorching, but warm. I like a nice warm vape there. I don't like it cold, as it were. Now who's this for? Obviously, it's not going to be for beginners. You need to know what you're doing with regards to building and Ohm's law and things like that. And I wouldn't say it's a beginner's build for beginner builders either, because, as I said, it is a little tricky to work with at times. Postless decks can be a little tricky in general, but it's not hard to build on. It's damn good performance, and at the cost of it, I mean, this was, as usual, this was supplied to us. Well, not say as usual. This one was supplied to us by Heaven Gifts, free for the purposes of review. But it is a nice cheap little tank. It comes in black like this, and there is also a stainless steel option if you prefer that. And they come in at just under £25. Now this is kind of what you'd expect from Wotofo. They make good, solid quality products in terms of their build quality, how they're put together. They're good, solid hardware in atomizers, but they don't charge a fortune for them. And at just under £25, it's kind of a bit of a bargain, I'd say. So if you've got a bit of experience building, you know, starting out on RDAs, things like that, and you're quite confident with your building and you want to try an RTA, I can recommend it. It's, as I said, a little tricky, but it's not impossible to build on by any means. I've worked with much more difficult RTAs in the past. For instance, things like the Griffin 22. Nice little tank, but it's tricky to get the wicking right on it. This was very easy in terms of getting the wicking right. You don't have to mess about. You just put the cotton through, cut the edges off, tuck it down by the wicking juice gaps, the juice flow gaps, and it was good to go. It's nice and simple in that respect. So if you want a nice, cheap, small form factor, because it is a little dinky one, if you're going more for the stealth vaping side of things, just right up your alley, I'd say this quite possibly. And I'm getting some nice big clouds off it for a nice little 22mm RTA. That's some lovely clouds, and the flavour is spot on. So anyway, thanks for watching. Do stay subscribed to the channel. Give us a like and a comment if you can. If there's anything you want to know about it, then please feel free to ask. Keep an eye on the channel because we've still got more coming up very soon. I've got the Vapor SO Transformer RDA to review, and we've got a little review coming up on some of the tobacco liquids by Liqua, the same people who make Aramax. If you saw our Aramax review, Liqua is their more premium range, and I'm really looking forward to trying those. I do like a nice tobacco vape every so often. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching.